Today on the Roach Koach podcast.
We need to know if this is a Christian band or not.
I need to know if this is a Christian band or not. All right.
If you don't tell me if this is a Christian band or not, I'm going to lose my mind.
Lose it. One day we're going to figure out whether or not these boys are Christian.
I hope so.
Gosh.
Roach Koach podcast. Hot all day, every day.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Roach Koach podcast, the journey to create the Nu-Metal Canon. My name is Lorin Kozlowski. With me, as always, the original Roach Rider, Mr. Matt Nas.
Keep it rolling, baby.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with you for another episode of the Coach, creating this Nu-Metal Canon one album at a time. This week, you guys, we're talking about a band that people have been asking us to do, possibly since the dawn of man.
Whoa.
People have been asking us to do this band for a very, very long time.
Was the Dawn of Man 2002?
Yes, it was, Matt.
Okay.
Yep, that's when everything started. That's when everything started. And we knew if we were going to do this band, there was only one person that we could ask. You may know this gentleman from such podcasts as Discography Discussion, from such podcasts as DFT'S Dungeon. You just may know him as a great guy. It's Dan Terry, everybody.
Dan Terry. Yeah.
It's good to be here, guys. This has been a horrible week. I'm not going to lie. So you guys are like my shining jewels of hope and laughter, because this band, you'd think it would be this album would be like super, super uplifting. But of course, after listening to it for 20 years, I was like, you know what? I'm hearing this like with fresh ears this week because I knew you guys would be listening to it. Have you ever had that effect on something?
Ooh. Yeah, where you're super into it, and then that's me basically all throughout high school. Oh, you got to hear this. It's the best thing ever. And then you're witnessing somebody hears something that you really like, that they're trying to understand for the first time. Nightmare. You've just described my nightmare. And I do it to myself constantly.
This was all of college, me playing stuff for people and going, and them going, nah. And I'm like, all right, moving on. Next thing. I mean, yeah, that was me trying to get people into Sloan for a long time. Let me tell you.
And they're just not going to get it.
They're just not going to get it. I mean, every now and again.
Now it's more Sloan for you. Like
right.
we tried to get there, but I get too excited about things, and I'll play it for people and they'll be like, oh, I just did it with 100 gecs, which I know is terrible. And I love them. And I played it for Lorin, and he's like, hard pass.
I remember distinctly freshman year, college, and bonding with my roommates. We're playing songs for each other, loving this, loving that. And then I just got in my head because I was obsessed with Ben Folds 5, Unauthorized Biography of Reinhold Messner. And I was like, you guys got to hear this song, Army. Let me tell you, they did not want to hear the song Army. They were like, Lorin, what the fuck is this? And I was like, all right, okay, fair enough.
No, thank you,
No, thank you, Lorin. This is some nerd shit.
I'm gonna dodge this draft.
I think I'm still caught up there, though. Like, I'm caught up in that mindset. That's the whole thing with the Dungeon podcast, because like on Discography Discussion, we reviewed music. We talked about music, our opinions, yada, yada, yada. So like you would get people that had either never heard about something and wanted to know what it was all about, or people that already loved it and they were there to see, whether or not you were right or wrong, with what you're about to say. With the Dungeon podcast, it's just that. It's like, how do I show people, because you ever start showing somebody a song and you're like, no, wait, you got to listen to you got to get 2 minutes in, 43 seconds, then you're going to get it. And like with the Dungeon podcast, that's basically what I do, is like, I'll just meld it with, a story about my power getting turned off. And then they're like, oh, okay. Now there's a human context to this, and I only play the best part, on each song. And so, yeah, it's mixed results, though. I'm still getting a lot of hard passes from people that are like, yeah, I'm sorry, bud. It was a good story you told, but I don't know about that song.
I get that hard. Yeah. I mean, are you familiar with the Mighty Boosh?
Vaguely.
It was a British comedy show. And it's Noel Fielding, and then the other guy whose name I can't remember right now. I sure wish I was sitting in front of a computer, but he was into jazz, and they're in the car together, and the tape is in the cassette, and it's playing, and he's like, Julian is his name. Julian. And he's playing it and he's like, Noel is not liking it. And he's like, no, wait for this part right here. And then it does like the beep, beep. And he's like, and Noel's like, no, absolutely not. And that is a feeling way too many times.
It's the human experience, you guys. You open yourself up and someone's like, I'm going to shut this down real quick.
Yep.
But guys, we are here today to talk about a band, Blindside, and we're talking about their record, Silence. Really to kick off, Dan, do you know when this album came out?
Yeah, so this album came out on August 20th, 2002.
Okay.
That's a come down record.
That is a come down record. Dan, we'll start with you. I know you said you have a long and storied history with Blindside.
Well, so Blindside was a band that I heard a long time ago. I'm going to be really vague about that because I can't remember the first time I heard Blindside, but I can tell you that I remember hearing a song called Superman. And I think it was on a website called godcore.com, which was a place that we all went to find the latest in hot Christian hard rock and metal songs. And I remember I was instantly turned off by it because I didn't like the way the dude screamed. And so this band, I remember them as being this like really loud, abrasive, screamy band. And I didn't realize the song that I'd heard was several years old. I just assumed that, because back then you just downloaded the MP3. There was no metadata. There was, you didn't know anything about it. And so I remember being like, okay, this is all right. And then I remember getting really into POD, as young Christian boys tend to do in the early 2000s. And POD was like going on and on about their friends in this band called Blindside. They did a tour everywhere called the Warriors Tour. And it was POD, Blindside, and Project 86. So those became my 3 favorite bands at that time.
So today, are we doing the Holy Trinity? We finishing the Holy Trinity?
We're finishing the Holy Trinity of Christian nu metal bands. Absolutely.
Wow.
That's right. Yeah, they but I remember always thinking, like, which one of these doesn't sound like the other? Because I'm still remembering back that, like, this band just screams. They're like more of a hardcore band, not so much like a rock band or a nu metal band. And I remember we all got really excited when Satellite came out by POD because there was a song featuring Christian from Blindside. And I was like, I didn't even know that this guy could sing. And then he goes into the screaming, and all that. And I was like, okay. And then finally, I don't think I got serious about Blindside until I saw the video for Pitiful. And then I was like, oh my God, best band in the world, 10 out of 10. Let's go. Howard Benson did it again, like let's go.
Oh, this is a Howie B joint?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is a Howie B production joint. Matt, you and I believe, have no history with Blindside.
I do not. If this was adjacent to Five Iron Frenzy, yes, I would know it. But no, I do not know.
So this one, Howard Benson production, for those who are for some reason can't remember Howard Benson and his incredible resume. Let me just hit you with a couple hits here. As you said, Satellite by POD. He was a producer on Kelly Clarkson's Stronger album, which won Best Pop Vocal Album in 2013. He was nominated for a Grammy for producing Daughtry's album.
So he was the direct line from American Idol.
I don't know about that because this is the 5th Kelly Clarkson album. So
if you weren't an American Idol, and Howie B's gonna fight you.
Oh, you know what? I take that back because he also produced her 4th album, All I Ever Wanted. So yeah, I guess so. And he also produced The Reason for Hoobastank. He also produced for the Christian rock band Third Day.
Oh yeah, Third Day is still kind of a staple in the CCM world.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like he has a number of GMA Dove Award wins and nominations. He produced Third Day's 9th album, Revelation. Took him 9 albums to get to Revelation. Fair enough.
On the 9th album,
it's a revelation.
It's canon. Yeah, it's the last. Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, Howie B, he's been in there for a minute. He's been doing the damn thing.
Can you imagine that band meeting for them? We're gonna put out 9 albums. All right. The 9th one is Revelation. What? Why in the 9th one? Yeah, it's foretold in the prophecy.
That's right. Don't question the good book.
What good book? This is clearly not the Bible. It's our book.
It's our book.
It's our book that we're writing right now.
The book of third day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Please open the book of third day.
So, Blindside. This was a big surprise to me that they are Swedish.
What?
Yes, Matt. They're Swedish boys in this band. Dan, do you want to tell us who's in Blindside?
All right, I'm going to try really, really hard. And with them being Swedish, I remember after we had talked about doing this, I was like, man, I'm going to have to say all his names. Because Jenny always said the name, and I am undeservingly sitting where she sat, So,
well, Dan, just keep in mind, they're not your family.
They aren't your family.
They're your family. Okay.
They're not my family. You're right. All right, so let's try this out. We've got Christian Lindskog on lead vocals.
Sounds perfect to me.
We have Simon Grenahead on lead guitar and backing vocals.
Old grinny head.
Yeah.
We've got Thomas Nosland on bass guitar.
Thomas with the low end.
Also, he plays with a pick, not with his fingers, so that does not bode well for the canon. And then on drums, we have Marcus Dahlstrom.
Dahlstrom with the dulcet tones.
That's right. That's right. I have a physical copy of the album here.
Whoa, where was this obtained?
This was picked up, Matt, for a sweet $2.99.
A steal.
From Rock of Ages.
Whoa!
In Garden City, Michigan. If you have not gone to Rock of Ages lately, it is now a MAGA compound. Was not aware of that when I went in.
Oh, no.
But if you want to get all your MAGA gear and you want to poke some libs and also pick up any metal CD you've ever wanted, it's a one-stop shop.
Somebody's got to sell it. Good for Rock of Ages.
Good for
capitalizing.
I mean, they're in there. Let me tell you, I've never seen so many "Let's Go Brandon" everything in person before in my life. I've always had the remove of like seeing it on a tweet or seeing it on a TV screen or something.
Selling music is difficult. So you know what? This stuff has to be sold somewhere.
It's true. I mean, I will say the vibes in there, awful.
Oh, were there limited edition like Trapped hoodies? I
didn't see any of those. I just know that I was in there and I hadn't been in there probably since 2017 maybe. And I remember just thinking this is
what I was expecting.
This was not the same as the time I went here with my son when he was very little and we were in a stroller and we were getting stuck in aisles and it was just a fun old time. Now there are honestly too many cardboard cutouts of Donald Trump with speech balloons. Just gonna say it. Too many.
Oh, wow.
But you know what? Whatever it takes to listen, it's a family operation. I'll tell you that much. And as we talk about on the show all the time, you got to put food in your family.
Got to put that food on your family.
At the same time, the vibes are off. So, but the price was right at $2.99. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Thank you, Rock of Ages.
Yeah. So, this album, we got a picture of the band on the front, a soft overlay, translucent over what looks to be, I don't know, is this a waterlogged dock or something like that? Something like that. It looks like a dock of some kind, but it's like decayed by time and water and erosion.
I'm gonna say this is a terrible album cover.
It's not great.
It is bad.
It's like they couldn't decide. They were like, okay, we have this picture of an eroded dock that we love. And everyone's like, okay, all right, then that's what it'll be. And they're like, no. We also have this picture we all took as a band where we all look tough. That we love. And they're like, like, okay, well then we'll do that one. They're like, oh, hold on though. We also made this weird design with are these hexagons? No.
Yeah. I mean, it was like a, probably the hot Photoshop trend of that year. So like put, as many weird geometric shapes as you could on your album cover. But I always thought this cover was just them constructing the giant cube from the Pitiful video.
Oh, jumping ahead. Okay. I mean, I will say that they should have picked one. They should have either gone with the grid design, or they should have gone with the decaying dock, or they should have gone with the picture of them looking tough. TUFF tough. I would say this band looks suitably nu metal. We have a gentleman with dreads. We have a gentleman with face piercings. He's got 2 lip piercings on either side of his mouth. I would always say when I see that one, I'm like, that's a dedication. Because for me, who would never get, the idea, if I get a cut in my mouth, it's over. Forget about it. I'm not going anywhere. So 2 lip piercings on the bottom on either side of your mouth. This dude's hardcore. He's wearing a Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy hat, and he's got a not quite connected chin strap. And the drummer has a like non-committal mohawk. But then the lead singer, Christian, he's going for the swoopy hair, emo boy look.
I got a hard swoop.
Hard swoop. Dan, you're now a proud father. Did you ever in your youth have the swoop?
I didn't, because my hair could best be described as a straight up Brillo pad.
Okay.
And
right.
and it's cool because like everybody made fun of me pretty much most of my life for having a fro. And I was like, I really didn't ever like wake up one morning and decide to have a fro. It just kind of grows that way.
The fro chose
But,
you.
The fro chose.
I keep it short these days because I'm a businessman. But I think that the thing that was most depressing about the fro is that during the period of the swoopy hair, everybody had it, that raven black, forehead swoop going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got this fro and I'm wearing like a plaid shirt because I still think Nirvana's cool, and so I'm having like one of those sort of crises. And then like I get a little bit older, I go to college, I stop hanging out with younger people. And then I go to the movie theater to watch like Batman or something. And there is, 2 or 3 kids that have fros and flannel t-shirts surrounded by girls. And I'm like, I should have just like straightened my hair and just gone with the swoopy hair in high school because playing the long game, I waited too long.
Right.
So no, to answer your question, I did not have the swoopy hair.
There you go. Listen, I had the bowl cut for way too long. And then I had the bowl cut for way too long in high school. I remember a girl coming up to me and she said, "You need to do something about that." That's a direct quote.
Whoa. Was she written? No.
So she was more honest with you.
Yeah.
That's cut to the quick. You cut me deeply.
Listen, this was still the 90s and things were a little different back then. And so I was like, all right, I got to do something. I got to fix this. It's my senior year. I got to fix this.
So do something.
You need to do something about this. And so the move was, and you guys will remember this, it was cut it short, gel it, and then you swoop it down in front and then spike it up in front. So you got spikes across the whole forehead area.
I remember that look. Yes.
Okay. So yeah. I got that look. I want to say like maybe like February, March 2000. I went into that look. And I remember that girl, the same girl going, "Good job. Good job."
She liked you. Did you date this girl?
I sure didn't.
You could have, because that is as much interest. I've never seen a girl give a man more interest in life.
No, I can't think of a time a girl spoke to me twice.
No, here's the thing.
2000. Oh my goodness.
Way into you, dude.
I was not picking up what this woman was putting down. I was like, okay, whatever, and then moving on.
I mean, either she's some fashion angel that just fell in your lap, or she was way interested in you.
I don't remember her name. I just know that she was in class and she was very direct. And
I have a couple years on you guys, so my hair tales were everybody wanted that Seth Green double waterfall or the Andy Dufresne, and I could not pull that off even though I tried diligently. And then at 19, I started losing my hair, so the last real haircut that I was able to pull off was a Caesar. And then I just started shaving my head pretty much from that moment forward.
There you go. Yeah, I will say it wasn't maybe bowl cut's not the right term. It was basically as I think I've talked about in the show, it was like the Ryder Strong down the middle.
The Sean Hunter, I was just
Sean
thinking
Hunter, yeah. But it was still like very bowl cutty.
So kind of a Tony Hawk.
Yeah, Tony Hawk in that era, absolutely. Yeah. So good.
And of course, I had the Caesar because of one George Clooney on ER.
Oh, absolutely, Matt. For sure.
I think this band picture, though, really represents 2002, though, because of how much stuff was changing. Because we would get into everybody having a swoop cut on MTV. really quickly after that, if not already, you know.
Right. Well, you're doing you had to have the swoop cut, the white belt, and then you can't just play the guitar, you can't just sing. You've got to jump around and spin kick.
Yeah.
That's the other vibe with
Oh,
this one.
yeah.
And we don't see a ton of that in a lot of other new metal bands that we do. They tend to be more like we're gonna low sling the guitar and the bass. We're not necessarily going to jump around. It's more of just like grimacing weird faces.
Yeah.
I feel like really like Stained is like the true like prototype of that. Like, how low can I play my guitar and bass to the ground? You know, I'm 2 inches from the ground, but man, what if I get 1 inch from the ground? Like, how low can I go?
I
And
mean,
these guys on the other end are like jumping, spinning, flipping. So much more active. But I mean, because we're in the come down, 2002, things are shifting. Matt.
And they were a hardcore band.
Oh.
A week before before this, like a week before this record comes out, they're playing a club in Sweden to a whole bunch of hardcore fans, probably like 50 people. And they're rocking out, screaming, throwing their guitars around. Being in hardcore bands at that time, that's what we used to put duct tape on our guitars and basses just so that we could swing all of our shit around like that.
yes.
So genre tags for this album are post-hardcore, alternative metal, and nu metal. Nu metal coming in third. And this album was, according to Wikipedia, their major breakthrough. And Pitiful was a hit single, as well as the follow-up singles were also hits, Sleepwalking and Caught a Glimpse. Sales-wise, it says it got to 83 on the US Billboard 200. I do not have any other numbers, though. I don't know what type of numbers these boys put out. But, I mean, Howie B on Elektra 2002.
It's probably Money in the Bank.
Probably sounds like it. Plus, I think really they just needed to make a decision on this album cover. Are we tough? Are we a decaying doc? What are we?
Yeah, this album cover is very sad to me.
Not a great album cover, but
We adopt. Do we own this doc?
do we own
real estate man?
I mean, my feeling is drop this half-formed band photo from the front. Keep the Blindside. Oh, the other thing is that I got to look at this hard to realize this is Blindside. Make the name of your band a little more clear. And
yeah,
then,
because they put the S in Blindside sideways, so if you aren't reading it right, it looks like Blind Snide.
Right,
I never noticed that before.
Yeah. It is spelled normal on the spine, so credit where it's due.
Or
But
blind denied.
Blind-eyed, something like that. Yeah.
It looks like 3 people were in charge of the artwork on this record.
probably.
No,
like-
literally it says that in the
Oh,
notes.
does it say that? Oh, it does.
Artwork direction is by Blindside. So number 1, they had some demands that had to be fulfilled. And then you've got Lily Picow is also in charge. So maybe Lily came in and said, I think we need to have these geometric shapes, just sort of like a mesh across the front of it. And then you've got a guy named David Greenhill also. So it sounds to me like they were all really good friends and very inclusive to each other. And they're like, all of our ideas are great. Let's smash them onto the cover of this record.
That's right. David was like, you guys, this decaying doc, I can't get enough of it. And they were like, we love you, David. We love you. We love you.
You know what we love? We love the transparency feature of Photoshop. So we can do it all.
We can do it all, baby.
All, baby.
This album, there are 2 reviews on Wikipedia. One is from AllMusic, a 3 out of 5. And Jesus Freak Hideout,
There it is.
Yeah.
4.5 out of 5. So that's
High praise.
high praise. And let's see, are there any good quotes from this? It's I would say 4 paragraphs. They're very excited. They say that they're more accessible this time. There's some charm in these guitars, but they're also reminiscent of Bon Jovi, but they seem fresh and they're real into it. And they say that some songs are soaked in 80s metal feel with a modern update. Some songs are beautifully dreary and melodic. And then at the end, they say, now keep in mind, this is an album that this person rates 4.5 out of 5. That is as close to classic without being classic. And at the end, they say, while Silence may not be especially innovative, it's nice to hear something moderately different from the Creed wannabes flooding the mainstream modern rock scene. Blindside deserves the break that is potentially offered on Silence. Let's hope the record is given the chance to. 4.5 out of 5.
Well, it's like, bro, you could listen to Creed or you could listen to this. So that might as well be a 5-star review.
You know what? That's right. If that's the floor, welcome to the ceiling.
Right. Wow.
You could listen to Creed, but there is Blindside.
There is Blindside. There it is.
There is no yarling on this record. That's spoilers. There's zero yarling.
Zero yarling.
Oh yeah, this honestly, when your hair is this swoopy, you ain't yarling.
No.
You ain't yarling. No. Anything else to say about the record before we dive in? Do we want to all talk about our favorite Decaying docs that we've seen?
Oh, I mean,
right?
We're in the Great Lakes state here, so
bonus Patreon episode. We'll do a
bonus
Patreon doc special. We'll just be talking about pictures of docs that no one can see.
We're talking docs and not documentaries.
Be very careful on the Google search.
Right. Docking. Yep.
Yeah.
Good point.
Make sure. You got to make sure you're searching for the thing that you want to search for.
Yeah. Not tip to tip, baby.
Nope. Not at all. Yep. And we're also not going to be talking about iPod docs or iPhone docs.
Docking your pay. Yeah.
Terrible doc.
Yeah. Not a good doc. No. Or you know what? Docking a Starship. So you start watching videos of the Starship Enterprise docking in or docking out. Always majestic. It's like you sometimes have to remind yourself, this is not real, but I am watching this with just sustained awe because the Starship Enterprise, great ship.
Great ship.
Top tier ship. Whenever people shooting at it, I'm just like, what are you doing? You're shooting history. How dare you?
Yeah. I hope they die. Yeah.
Yeah. But
not the Starship. The people firing at the Starship.
Oh, trust me, they always get theirs.
They definitely get.
They get theirs, and then they just build another Enterprise. So like, this is like Enterprise G, H, whatever. Anyway, that was a little Trek talk.
Trek talk.
Trek talk. I think it's now time.
I think
to
so
start
too.
Listening to this record, Matt. What do we got first?
First up, Caught a Glimpse.
Oh, Matt. We're gonna start with you. You were feeling caught in a glimpse.
Feeling caught in a glimpse. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about good crunch on that guitar.
Mm-hmm.
But interesting in the chorus, I would not call that a very nu metal chorus. That feels like much more of a major rock lift chorus. Don't mind it. I don't mind it. It is not quite a praise and worship chorus, but it would be a put your hands up in the air. I need to see some hands for this chorus. Yeah, hands in the air. We're feeling good at this show. Good tone setter. Have to say that. Not super new. Not super new. Just kind of feels like good rock time. Good time in the modern rock world.
Yeah, Matt, I would echo that. I wrote in my notes that we are wailing and we need to get up. Dan, thoughts on Caught a Glimpse?
There's two ways. There's two ways you can experience this song. The way you guys did and the way a hardcore from day one back in 1994 Blindside fan would view this song. So for us, we're like, yeah, nice tone setter, opens it up with a scream. Blindside lets you know everything that you're in store for within the first 30 seconds of this song. Okay, the entire, like, you've heard the whole record now. Not in a bad way, but it's like, oh yeah, if I like this, guess what? They're going to serve me up more of that. I'm excited. I'm stoked. Let's go. If you're an old school Blindside
I have
fan,
a feeling I know where this is
going.
going.
You did not make it 30 seconds into that song. Before you roll down the window on the highway and just chucked that thing out, and it's in God's hands now. Like that, because this band used to be literally so unhinged that hearing them in this form factor is a little bit jarring, because you're like, oh, okay, wow, we're the new normal now. But what's interesting about this song is that, you mentioned that there's no it's not a praise chorus, right?
Right.
I think it was designed that way.
Interesting.
Because I've heard too many Christian rock bands, and I can tell you that they either take the easy way out and go praise and worship chorus because you are guaranteed a certain amount of album sales by doing so. But I feel like
Take that, Hillside.
Well, yeah, like the way Howard Benson did this, or did Satellite, it was kind of the same way. Satellite can be a little bit praise and worship chorus, but not too much. This record, he must have wrote down on the board, literally, this band has to be a super Christian rock band that does not sound like a Christian rock band. And that is pretty much, when we get into some of the other comments later on in the episode, you'll start seeing that sort of ebb and flow with people being like, is it Christian? Is it not Christian? And you really are left wondering. The only even hint that this is a Christian band is whenever you get to the I'm ready to give you my heart, because then you're up to interpretation. Am I giving that special lady my heart, or am I giving my heart to Jesus?
Well, Dan, that's a perfect segue to talk about a little website called songmeanings.com. Songmeanings.com for this album is a place for discussion, a place for ideas, a place for meanings. But most importantly, it is for the question, is Blindside Christian? Are they?
Oh, a question that we will be asking this whole episode.
And Matt, Dan, it's fun to know that for every single track on this album, of which there are 13, someone will ask that question under every single song.
Oh, yeah.
And some of these comments, there are 27 comments on Caught a Glimpse. I wrote down some of my favorites. Glassjaw Girl said, in all caps, I fucking love his voice. So I was like, okay, there you go. Dragon 35 Ninja said, the CD is better than I thought. This band is great. And then, well, I won't tell you the name of this commenter until after I read their message. Please enjoy. The comment starts this way. First off, no disrespect intended, but Blindside are merely Christians. They do not intend to write about Christianity or reflect a Christian message, so it is a bit unfair to label them Christian rock. And also, POD, do not pursue Christianity within their music. I don't really agree with this, but it's a good comment from Erection 50369.
Oh, so glad Erection came in here and raised the stakes.
What? An incredible moment. And I mean, yeah, I will tell you, throughout this comment, through this song, you've got 27 comments of people, just going back and forth. These guys are Christian rock, and it's fine. There are other people saying it's Christian rock, and we need to be aware of that. Someone with a screen name Blindside Rock said these guys love Jesus and are so talented.
Now, Dan, I'm going to come to you on this because I know back in the day you were a board warrior on many a Christian rock site. This is de rigueur, right? This is how it goes. This is the way that this works, right?
Yeah, I find it fun that you guys are like, yeah, these guys nobody's sure about Blindside. If you are a Christian rock band, this is your songmeanings.com comment section. Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, if your song is literally called I Am a Christian and I Love Jesus.
Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light.
People will still debate whether you are a Christian band or not. And there's also kind of like a little bit of a meta there too, because you can't just believe somebody is Christian if they say they are. And even if they say they are, then you have to ask yourself, well, I came into this with in a criticism mood. So now I've got to find something wrong. This is what I'm here for. So if they say they're Christian, I'm going to find something in their lyrics that contradicts my limited understanding of what that religion is. And if it contradicts mine, then I'm going to start a huge argument about it in a comment section and get people really stirred up. It's not even trolling, because in some twisted way, they have the best of intentions, because they're trying to inform you of something that they themselves are not quite sure of.
And then you'd mentioned this before we started. When an atheist rolls in, it's instantly like, you guys are idiots. There's no way this is a Christian.
You guys are morons. Yeah, this band is not Christian. I don't know what you guys are talking about. All you religious people are in this comment section messing it up, messing up this band, screwing up the legacy of this band, you know, and that's another existential crisis of I like this, and there might be religion's references in it, but I don't know. I can't. Then it's like a reverse guilt where like Christians typically feel bad about liking non-Christian music, and the militant atheist also feels bad about liking Christian music.
Yeah, I mean, this one, I didn't even write this one down. I didn't see this one. This one's from commenter Hit and Cry. Quite a name. Who said, "I love this song so much. I've been a Blindside fan since their first CD came out, and Silence is by far my favorite CD of theirs. His voice kicks so much ass, and the fact that they're a Christian band, but do give that preachy feel is great because I think they meant to say do not give that preachy feel is great because I don't like most Christian rock. But are they really Christian rock or a band of Christians that rock?"
Well, there it is.
And then they follow that up with, "Who cares?"
There it is.
That perfect. Well, let me tell you, Hit and Cry. A lot of people care, and they're in all the
Deeply.
comments for every single fucking song. So
That's right.
It seems that religion isn't a casual subject to most.
No, it seems like people kind of base a lot of their life decisions around it. So definitely something fun that we can poke at throughout this episode, right, Matt?
I think so. Yep.
All
Let's
right.
keep rolling then.
Let's do it.
Up next is Pitiful.
So this was the first single from the album, and I wrote in my notes that we are rocking, and I said, what if we were Christians who can bring the heat? Because this gets the job done. Got some twisty guitar in the second half. It's not heavy. It's in that fine line, but I had a good time with it, and also I caught the lyric right off the bat. But I know as they hammer those nails into your beautiful hands, I was like, track 2, Stigmata, baby. Let's go.
We have a confirmed Stigmata.
We've got a confirmed Stigmata.
Wow, we got a Stigmata on the field.
Stigmata on the field. And I mean, also this lyric here, I remember every word you said, come back in time, come back. And I remember I was too beaten. That's TOO. I was too beaten. Pitiful, so pitiful. Listen, I haven't been to church since 2000, but I can even pick up what these boys are putting down. And it is very funny that there is any debate in these comments. Stigmata reference in the second song, and people are like, how Christian do we really think these boys are? Really? It's like, dude, just own it. Just enjoy your blind side in the car. It's fine.
No one here is trying to take this away from you, bro.
It's fine. You can like it. It's fine. Yeah. People are going through it. Dan, Pitiful. How you feel about this one?
Hot chorus. Obviously, it's literally the catchiest moment on the record. Very, very, very smart choice for a first single. And yeah, this was, I mean, because you got to think what you guys are missing out on is you're seeing the remnants of it on songmeanings.com, but what you're missing is the schoolyard talk about Blindside, or rather the youth group schoolyard talk, where we're going to talk about all this stuff in real time actually to each other. So it's a little bit more respectful most of the time. But you also had like, this was the song that we would go to and be like, right there, nails, hands, nails, beautiful hands. He loves Jesus, thinks Jesus' hands are beautiful. It's a little weird, but it's fine. But he's talking about, obviously he's talking about being a sinner and that he feels really, really bad about it. And he wants to go back in time to undo the sin that he did, because he knows that the sin that he did is what drove those nails into Jesus's hands, and he feels bad about it. And he's able to capture something that deep in like a 2-3 minute radio rock song, which I think from a creative standpoint is incredible. Like that you could convey that sort of lofty concept in a, I remember every word you said, come back in time, and it's literally like, that's it. But you're saying all of this other stuff. And thankfully they had an army of people that were willing to talk that stuff out for them.
Matt.
This is a good song. I like the song. I like the chorus, super catchy. Everything about the song is right down my alley. I would have really liked this if I would have heard it in 2002. I did not. It missed me. But like this then I have Taking Back Sunday, and then I have this. It's like, oh, I'm good. This is what I like. From a new perspective, I don't hear a ton of new. I hear like remnants, like affectations, things that are like from the time. But this feels kind of a new generation, of a next generation, of a from 99 to 2002. It's almost like a world event happened that made people change their musical style a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Something did happen. I'm going to have to Google that. So give me a minute. I'll look that up.
While you look that up, I
Yeah.
will also say that we are on StreamYard, and I can tell that Dan is trying to hold in his excitement and his enjoyment of these tracks. But I see all over his face that, like, you're all about this. You like this.
Guilty. I mean, I do. I don't know anybody that's ever listened to my podcasts or talked to me or, got a text message from me or anything is aware of the fact that I'm a little bit of a Christian rock fan.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. But I love it. I love watching it. I like witnessing it firsthand. And yeah, Pitiful's a great song. I like this song.
So this has a music video. Music video is the band performing in a small room that we learn is actually inside a box that's being knocked around, a CGI box. And so the band is constantly flipping around, standing on the walls and the ceiling. Everyone's looking much like the album cover. I think they look exactly like the album cover. Very 2002 nu metal look, dreads, face piercings. The drummer has that sort of mohawk. Lead singer's got skinny jeans, swoopy hair. He honestly looks very thin and spindly. He looks like he weighs about 95 pounds, which was the look then. But also, you know what? Hit up craft services. Get yourself a sandwich.
Yeah, sandwich, please.
Yeah, man, please sandwich it up.
Put some food on your family.
Absolutely. Put some food on you.
Right.
First, you can't put food on your family until you put food on you.
That's right. We have never touched on that before. That's very true.
That's the classic. Take care of your own house.
That's right. Absolutely. This video, pretty active though. I had a good time watching it. Like, they're flipping around. I mean, they're into it. Like, no one was phoning it in. And Dan, is this band like consistent lineup throughout the eras? Like,
pretty much, yeah. They're pretty much the same band beginning to end.
Yeah.
If a bass player gets swapped out, I'm sorry. As you gentlemen said, they're not my family. But as far as I know, they're pretty much the same band through and through, which is why sometimes I think you'll notice that with bands that take several years sometimes to put records out because, we're all, I mean, think of how long it took us to schedule this, right? Like getting some adult men together to do a thing at a given period of time doesn't sound difficult on paper, but in reality. So yeah, these guys take a long time to put records out, but yeah, they're the same dudes. They're the same band of bros.
There we go.
I
like that. Songmeanings.com. The debate continues. A couple good comments here. I like this one. So this one's got a twist ending on it because the commenter's name is Dismembering Elliot. And I was like, okay. But then at the end, they sign it with, I think, their real name. So I will read it and then we'll get to their real name. I'm not trying to piss a load of people off, but I want to make a point to everyone on this Christian debate. So many of the people who have commented on this song who are clearly Christian are invalidating any other responses by saying it's just about Jesus and any other stuff is wrong. The band is Christian, but songs are written to speak to anyone who feels them, not just those who see a message for God. The beauty of a lot of songs is that the intended meaning doesn't really have to mean shit. All that matters is what people feel about a song. I get sick of Christians acting like these are their bands and everyone should find Jesus through them, and if they don't, they're wrong. Anyways, the song is amazing, and I love how honestly emotional the delivery is. The song has helped me through a lot, and I felt the need to claim my right to love it without thinking about it being about Jesus. Sincerely, Angel.
Perfect. That stuck the landing.
Unbelievable. I saw that. I threw my hands up like a field goal ref. Like, yep, that's the one. You did.
I mean, it's if it's an actual angel.
Well, imagine.
Then it's a perfect comment.
Oh,
on
song meetings, bet on it.
That's an actual angel.
It
weirds me out that it was in a comment from 2006, which is, a little interesting. for that particular website. But what is really fun is that it is straight truth. It's almost like this commenter took all of the comments and did like an average, of like, this is where it's at. Like I feel like this was a very studied, calculated comment that is just absolutely the straight truth of the situation. And unfortunately, it's going to go mostly on deaf ears until today.
Right.
Yeah.
Today, Angel, you were heard.
You were heard.
It was
Angel.
missing one line. You called Jesus a shepherd because you're all a bunch of sheep.
Oh, they probably are asleep. Yeah.
And then the other one I liked, it's from this guy's screen name is Scott MXPX.
Love this guy.
And their comment is, I agree with the religious setting of this song, but as I listened more to the CD, it got me thinking, is Blindside a Christian-based band?
Oh, there it is.
This is like the do not reply to this email chain.
Please don't reply all. Okay. Well, let's keep it rolling. Let's go to the next one. This one's called Jesus is My Lord and Savior. No, I'm sorry. I read wrong. This is Sleepwalking. Ooh, that chorus was buttery, baby.
Oh, man. Let me tell you, that boy was asking to see them hands. Let me see them hands. He's doing just a quick stigmata check. Let me see them hands.
I can see you through my head. That's too far. All right.
Yeah. Plus, he's talking about waking up. Wake up. Sheep.
I don't think so.
No.
Dare you be born again?
Yes,
Damn.
what Matt said. No, what Lorin said. Only because one thing that you're going to find about this record is that lyrically there is a huge theme of self-depreciation.
Oh, yeah.
Christian is not a fan of Christian, but he is a Christian. Let's keep all of our brackets
straight
in the right spots.
Mm-hmm.
But this record, he talks like, because you have Pitiful, where he's, I'm pitiful, I'm a pitiful, horrible sinner, right? This record, or this song, it's always directed towards him. Are you trying to wake me up now that you're trying to pull? What are you trying to pull? Is it my arm? I do believe. It's all, wake me up, wake me up. And he's very like, he does this thing that's really frustrating because, like, I like to analyze lyrics, obviously. He does this thing where it's frustrating where I never know if he's talking about himself or if he's talking about someone else as if it's himself. But, with getting to the whole, like, yeah, sleepwalking. Yeah, anybody that's not a Christian is sleepwalking. Get it? But it's me. I'm also that way. Didn't you guys listen to Pitiful? It's me.
The call was coming from inside the house.
That's right.
Yeah.
Song's pretty cool too.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah, I like the yas that are in the background. Those are fun. I also like that occasionally his voice is cracking and breaking. So he's just like, he's feeling it at a level. He's like, keep the seams in, keep the blemishes in. I want to be real and raw. And Howard Benson's like, a little bit. Don't worry. These songs are still gonna be tight. I wrote this as very earnest, but I did not have a bad time. I'm not a huge fan of a slowed down chorus generally, but this one's pretty good. I mean, those verses, though, very punchy. Very much enjoyed that. Songmeanings.com, Blindside Rocks said, this song can send chills, especially at the end. The screaming is incredible. They lyrics rock, too. They lyrics, they rock.
Oh, they lyrics?
They lyrics? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they rock.
They rock. They named me Mikey, said, I couldn't tell you what the song is about, but it is most definitely my favorite Blindside song as far as the musical aspect of it goes. This song rocks me so hard. Veronica 9282 said, the whole album means a lot to me. I first heard of them when I was 18 years old. That was 6 years ago. They were having a concert here in Ventura County, and I wanted to go, but my asshole father said, no, it's on a school night. But ever since, have been a real big fan, would love to see them live. Veronica, it's been 6 years, and you are still holding this grudge? Girl, you got to see Blindside Stat. You gotta let this go. And then a perfect closing comment from Zieg, who said, I didn't know Blindside was a Jesus band.
There it is. There it is.
Get used to these comments.
Then somebody always rolls in hot with like, well, here's some scriptural references
Oh,
for every
I love that guy, the scholar.
There are a couple. I did not quote any of them, but they're literally like 8 paragraphs. I want to break down every single one of these, talk about how this lines up to the good book, and line up to Old Testament, New Testament. And I was like, dude, I'm not reading all this. I'm sorry it happened, or I'm happy for you, but I ain't reading all this. So,
John 3:3.
Yeah. Matt, what we got next?
Oh, baby, we've got cute, boring love.
So I was looking at these lyrics, looking at them as a grown ass man, and
Hi, lyrics.
high lyrics, and I was like, is this song? This song is very critical of the concept of casual sex. This song is like, don't do it, don't you dare. But also is, being very cheeky by saying that, cute, boring love, that's what all those casual sex havers think of when they see these people in long-term relationships. Oh, that's cute. That's cute, and it's boring. I'm out and about, getting wild.
I damn freak in the sheets.
A freak in the sheets. I feel like I'm
out there, buck wild.
Listen, man, just it's just flapping in the wind.
I mean, I can't tell when someone's complimenting my hair that they're into me.
Yes. So this was it's funny is that I don't think I've listened to a song like this in a while where I was like, relax. Relax. I mean, this song feels like it was delivered to me while sitting in a chair backwards to let me know that they were hip and cool and down, but also wanted to break down some truth for me. It's punchy. Once again, punchy. That's the kind I come back to. These songs are punchy, but yeah, it felt kind of a cold shower in a lot of ways. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, this song is so you read it as a grown ass man for the first time. I was not a grown ass man when I first read these lyrics, and so the first time I read it, this is the type of song that Christians refer to as quote unquote a great song lyrically, man, because it reinforces something that you already think, and so whenever somebody says what you think already, it hits you get a dopamine hit in your brain. Your brain recognizes that pattern. It pats you on the back, tells you did a good job. These boys are great. They're Christians, probably. And it's
still up for debate.
Yeah,
way up for debate.
Jury's still out. But I think that this song was so weird to experience now versus then, because then I would have said, yeah, this is a great song. He talks about some really hardcore truths. Like, I mean, I was in it. I was eating the cake every day. I had the purity ring. I was there. Which is weird because looking back on it, I probably didn't really have to worry about making a vow of purity. But
I certainly didn't.
Yeah, it turned out to not be a problem at all. But I think that with this, it's interesting because he mixes sort of as close to sexual as this band can get. He mixes this like sexual theme with like he probably thought it was really edgy using the word lust. But then whenever he turns around, what are you so scared of, sister? What are you so scared of, sister? It's weird hearing him mix that Christianese terminology, we're all brothers and sisters in Christ, to like be talking about this subject. And I don't know if it was just like a translation fail. You know what I mean? Like a this is going to be fine. But it's not. It always came off weird to me. And I remember me and my friend Buddy used to drive to school listening to Silence by Blindside. And we would get to this song and then we would always talk about it because it was something that we were worried about that it turns out we did not have to really worry about at all. But we were always like, yeah, it's really cool that he's talking about lust. We used to say he's calling it out. He's calling it out. This is a rampant problem. Mm-hmm. He's drawn that line in the sand, about yeah,
don't
about
you.
Yeah, we're not gonna do this, and just like all of the hard statements in this album, it's wrapped up in this nice candy coated, package, and it sounds good. It goes through, but this is the first song that if you are staunchly anti whatever the Christian ideal is on this particular subject, then this is where it's really going to stick out to you. This is where it's going to start poking you in
This
the back.
is where
Hey,
the
hold on.
battle lines are getting drawn. It's like, wait.
Yeah.
I like Dan the picture you painted of you and Buddy driving to school, listening to the song, then talking about it and saying to each other, "Listen, man, today at school, no casual sex. All
no
right,
casual sex. Okay, you're gonna, dude. You know that at that time we had what were called accountability partners, right? So if you,
I do not know about this.
yeah. So what an accountability partner is where you and your friend will both agree not to look at porn or something. You know, either don't drink, don't smoke, don't have any casual sex, or don't do any of this stuff. And then your friend was going to make that pact with you, and then you both were going to be accountability partners for each other. And like, I'm not even kidding. Like with the porn thing, there was software you could install on your computer that would let your accountability partner know if you decided to open up incognito mode. You know what I mean? Like it was it was a real thing. Now, Buddy and I never went that far with it, but it was definitely a thing that we were encouraged to do to keep ourselves, from falling into these worldly traps, so to speak. The whole not of this world thing was taken very, very, very seriously. And so that's how you get a song like Cute Boring Love, because it comes from that place. It comes from that era, and it's also going to slide by because obviously Blindside was never as successful as POD, right?
Right.
So a lot of Blindside's audience, as you can tell from the comments, are already people that are firmly entrenched in the Christian rock world. And even stuff like Blindside, just because of all the screaming and stuff, makes it more edgy. But the reason why a band like Blindside does so well in the Christian rock world is because they are very, very much from the same place, and they're catering to those same ideas. So that explains the song. I don't know how much I necessarily agree with it, but that's how something
We
like
got
this
here.
comes to
Wow,
be. Yeah.
that makes sense. So I had a similar thing to you, Dan, except I had an anti-accountability friends who were constantly making sure that I had all of the bad things you're not supposed to have.
Yes. All right.
And I had a best friend who was just my friend, and we were never gonna nibble.
Yeah. That's me and Buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have.
Yeah.
Well, I have rich dreams of all this pussy I'm gonna never have.
Right.
I wouldn't know what to do with it. I couldn't have handled it. I was a child.
It's true.
That is true. Yeah.
Even the older I get, I stayed a child until my mid-20s, where life smacked me upside the head.
Yeah, I pulled out a couple comments from songmeanings.com. This one's from Harmonical Fatigue, who said, "To me, this song is about this guy that is getting sick of putting up with casual sex and is longing for a more stable relationship, a more committed relationship. In other words, the cute, boring love, hence the chorus. It also sounds to me like he is asking this, quote, fuck friend of his
Yes.
up to him to love him emotionally, not just sexually. Don't you think it's time to trespass? What are you so scared of, sister? I'm just as scared as you." Harmonical Fatigue. I've been in the game for a while, and I've never heard anybody call it a fuck friend. I'm just going to say right now, I don't know. That one's a little clunky to me. And then Two Hearts Ablaze said, "I am so glad someone mentioned the fact that these people are Christians." No, this song is not about having casual sex. I agree with some of what has been said, like he cares for this girl a lot, would like her to feel a pure kind of love, God's pure unconditional love, even for a girl like her. Two Hearts Ablaze. Did you read like no other comments? I think the answer is yes. All right. Well, there you go, Matt.
Up next, we've got the ending. By the way, not even close to the ending of this film.
Dan, we'll start with you.
Yeah. So this is the classic example of a song that probably should have been cut. Yeah, I mean it's fine.
Straight to it.
Straight to it. This guy's got them scissors out, and we cutting.
Yeah, I mean when your CD is 13 songs long, the endings is it's fine. It's a fine Blindside song. It has a verse, a chorus, and a verse, and it's no, I know. It sounds like I'm just
generally the ingredients for a pop song
for a song. All
right,
but still,
I don't know.
Dan wants it gone.
The first four were straight fire. and this just kind of like really kind of brings it down a little bit. And this is just a personal quirk of mine, but I don't like it when they quote unquote slow it down or like let's go slower. Like I just don't think that the chorus really punches on this song. I don't think that there's enough screams. That's an issue I have with this record and very much the next Blindside record, is that there's not enough screams. There's not enough of that hardcore Blindside in it. And I just feel like this thing just sort of meanders on and it is just there to be there.
Yeah, if this was a CD in my car, I probably would have backed up a couple songs already. I would have hit that back button.
I noticed that this song had the most chug that we've encountered so far. The bass is kind of rolling. It's got the stop-start. So the nu-metal tag makes sense now because this feels like the most nu-metal song front to back that I've heard. So it's interesting that you guys are like, this nu-metal song? It's got fucking no. I didn't mind this one so much. It felt like, if you're gonna add a little variety to your record, you might want to do something like this. At the same time, I'm also not a huge fan of like, I'm gonna slow it down for a little bit. Like, but
Yeah.
if you're gonna chug it, my ears will perk up for the chug a little bit. Songmeanings.com. I am nothing to you. Written as if it's Prince. Maybe it's one of Prince's burner accounts. Said, this is the best rock song on the CD. It has all the right elements. I don't know what the lyrics means. Most of the lyrics on Silence are pretty undefined and ambiguous.
Whoa, bro.
Okay. All right.
Don't know
Okay,
what
all
album
right.
you're listening to, but
Okay.
okay.
But this song just rocks. I love the background singing from Simon during the chorus. Very nice. I am nothing to you. These boys are Christians. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And then the immediate follow-up comment is from Distant, who says, it's about him talking with God, as most of the songs on this CD, about being a Christian in the music industry. And then Punk Valentine closed us out by typing this one in all caps and said, I just like singing along to this song while I'm driving.
I was going to bring this up. This seems like a very strong car record.
Oh, yeah.
I would say in the car kind of all runs together for me. I felt like I was like, okay, like there are 13 songs in this album. I am in the midst of them. But I didn't really get a real like I'm in the midst of them. There were some before, there were more to come. But things kind of congealed a little bit on my car listen. I will say on my notes listen, I was, I had the lyrics in front of me. I was readily aware. Oh, this song? We sex shaming, baby. Like I knew what we were dealing with. This one, I didn't even write down what I thought this song was actually about. Probably something religious.
Yeah, this one probably actually is somewhat more ambiguous because it's just like, oh yeah, the endings, everything's breaking, it's coming down, but he never says what it is, which is weird because there are times where he's ultra specific. And then there are times where he's just like, I don't know, man, the world and stuff. And, but you got to understand when a Christian band says the world, they mean the ungodly world,
right?
The unsaved world. When you say the world as a negative, it's not the world in general. It's literally just everybody that's not you and your friends.
There it is. All of us with no accountability partners, we're just bumping around.
Well, when you
better not be, because I'll know.
Oh, that brings us to our next track.
Yeah,
you can hide it.
Dan, I gotta know. You've seen Blindside live.
I have.
What's the Blindside live show? Are these boys flipping and jumping and
these
kicking
boys
around?
Are flipping around in circles, jumping. Christian will jump into a crowd of people and let them carry him around. He likes to let other people sing portions of vocals. It's the real package.
Okay. Because this one I imagine being a big crowd pleaser. This is it's got that pop punk alt vibe that I honestly kind of like. It's a good time. This seems like a good time song about the fact that you can hide from the teachings of our Lord, but the motherfucker's gonna find you.
That's right. Yes. This song is. I have two things about this record, or not record. Sorry, guys. Old patterns. Everything I'm talking about is a record. This
it's okay.
USB drive in my hand. It's a record. Everything's
there it is.
a record. But on this song. So number one, have you guys ever played Quake?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
So you may remember that the way that you could listen to the excellent Nine Inch Nails soundtrack on Quake was that you had to have the CD in the drive. So you could play Quake without the CD, but if you did it, there was no music. So what happens if you put another CD in the drive while you're playing Quake?
Wait a
That's
second.
right.
Wait a goddamn second. What?
Yeah. So you put a different CD in, and it's going to play whatever track it's supposed to play on the Quake soundtrack. And yeah. So I remember loading up a game of Quake one day, just as one does. And You Can Hide It starts playing. While I'm blasting dudes in the face, and this song's playing. Doesn't really fit or whatever. And I was like, huh. And then I went into another record. I went into another record, another level. And Cute Boring Love starts playing. And so I was like, okay, I've left the Blindside CD. But I honestly just played Quake like that for like 3 or 4 months. And this is always the first song that plays. So it's every time I hear this, I think of Quake. I'm like, yeah, Quake, let's go blast some stuff. But the other thing too, so this song is not necessarily about you hiding from God, but more like hiding yourself from other people, like not wanting other people to know that you are all about God. So it's like you're enjoying the sun. He talks about like the standing in the sun and the tan, and you can't just wash those blood stains away, blood of Christ for sure.
Oh, that's whose blood we're talking about.
Yes,
okay.
blood of Christ. It's always
right.
it's always the blood of Christ.
I mean, listen, if his hands are bleeding and his side's bleeding and he's got a crown of thorns, that guy is leaving a mess wherever he goes.
It's a bloody guy, yeah. And so it's a bloody boy, right?
But he's a blood boy. Yeah,
blood boy.
Blood boy, yeah. But this song, it's interesting because this sort of mirrors. Blindside has another song on their previous album called "King of the Closet," where he just screams, "I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire! I'm afraid the light is going to set me on fire." And so I feel like he's sort of taking the same theme of like light and a tan and sunlight of like you want to sit here and live in the warmth of God, and you want to enjoy all the benefits of being a Christian, but you don't want anybody to know about it, and so you're going to try to hide it.
Interesting. You know what? You could flip that lesson, if you're somebody who listens to this podcast and enjoy it, but you don't tell your friends and family about it, same thing, same message. Tell people about the show.
That share button is right there.
It's right there.
Right there. Fucking there.
Right there. Share it. Songmeanings.com. I like this comment from Sepron, who said, well, this band is extremely religious.
Wait, what?
Yes. And then they go in this. They were originally on Solid State Records, which was an all-Christian band record label.
Solid State.
They tour with other Christian bands. They say they're Christian band on stage, and their lyrics are obviously Christian-oriented. And if you pay attention to this song, you can tell this is about the sacrifice of Jesus. It's plain to see. Sepron, no notes. You did it.
I mean, is that a got him?
I mean, it would be a got him, sort of, kind of, if anyone read it and noticed it, because no one will, because it's going to come up again. Blindside.
I'm not sure if this is a
Christian song or not. When they talk about bathing in the blood of Christ, are they actually talking about the blood of Chris? My friend Chris?
Because I've
Chris
heard
Thompson.
My friend Chris Thompson.
Christ.
Oh, bloody Chris Thompson.
Bloody Chris Thompson. Yeah, he fell down in his grandma's driveway, skinned his knees. It was a whole thing. We had to go inside, get some paper towels. They didn't have any Band-Aids. It was just a mess. People thought someone had died there. Maybe that's who they're talking about.
Bloody Chris Thompson.
Oh, bloody Chris. Matt, what do we got next?
Well, I'll tell you right now. We've got Thought Like Flames.
Dan, we're going to start with you, my friend.
Unlike a lot of Christian rock songs that tell you about who God is, this song has no problem letting you know who God is not, which is you, me, and the person that he's talking to in this song. I like this one a lot. This is where because I feel like the last two tracks, while still decent, and one's decent, the other one I said I would rather cut. But I think that it kind of gets a little boring with how they'll start off real slow, and then they'll eventually will get to a really good chorus, but it's starting to take a little while. at this point in the record. But I love that. I love the whole whenever he starts getting into the hook, sorry you're not a god, and then he's like, sorry, but you're not God. I love that as a kid in 2002 that goes to church, that song is like, yeah. But it's interesting when I looked at it this time around. I was like, okay, he's either in a relationship with someone or that has self-esteem issues or self-image issues, or he's either in a relationship or he's a friend of or whatever. And I think it's interesting the whole "you're not God" thing comes from the whole like you think you're supposed to look this way, but God wants you to look this way, and you're not God, so you're not allowed to have this image of yourself. And I think it comes from a really pure place, but it also sounds a little too much like you're telling this person what to do. You're telling this person how to live their life.
I feel like this album's been telling a lot of people how to live their life, and I wrote in my notes that at this point I would love a subject change, and I would like to cut the monotony up with something just not about this. Like maybe a song about taking your dog for a walk, or a song about like restocking your fridge. These are the two topics that came to my head. I think, that's I would just love a subject change would be great. Just in the middle of this album. It'd be great. Just a song not about this. But it seems like they had a thesis and they were not deviating at all. But I'm just putting it out there. Maybe in the middle of your album, just a song about your dog. I'm just saying. Walking it, feeding it, something. Writing exercise, something to think about. Matt?
This was on a different take on it, this was the first one that I listened to that I heard his accent very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone so far has been kind of like the screams or the song itself is loud enough. Since they slowed it down, took the tone down a little bit, it was the first one where I was like, oh, these are not native English speakers. I did not, I would not have known up until this point if we would not have discussed it, obviously, earlier in the show. But I would have been like, hold it. Where are these guys from?
Yeah. Yeah, there is a sense of every now and again.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's what they sound like in interviews, right? They sound like the Swedish Chef, right? Between song banter, they're like hurdy dirty. We're Christian.
Me and my boys have a court of her turn.
I couldn't tell from that interview whether they were Christian or not, though.
Oh, I bet you couldn't.
Yeah,
they were on the 700 Club, and we still couldn't tell.
Man. Matt, what we got next?
I'll tell you right now. The next song is called "Time Will Change Your Heart."
Once again, very bouncy, very punchy. This one gave me the most POD vibes of any song on the album, especially in that chorus that felt like something that Sonny might do. And gonna say it, I mean, this feels like a song. Hear me out here. I don't know if we've determined whether or not this band is Christians, but it seems like he's saying that, you know what? I'm coming to you with the truth. I'm coming to you with facts, figures. I got a whole book full of testimonials from some boys and girls from back in the day. And it's going to take a minute, but it's okay because God's got all the time in the world for you to come back around. And you're going to hear what I'm saying. You're going to believe. And that's fine. It's funny though that there's some songs where it's like you need to do this right away. And other songs where he's like, take all the time you need. You'll come around eventually. And it's like, all right, you've just removed the ticking clock for me. Now I just got to one day I'll wake up and be like, that dude in Blindside was right. There it is. But yeah, this one, punchy, fun. Had a good time with this one. Dan?
This was me and Buddy's favorite one to blast in the car because it had the most screaming. And I don't think we necessarily have talked about this yet, but what do we think of Christian's screams on this record?
I'd say they're strong for the most part. Like I said, though, every now and again he's cracking.
Yeah.
I say as my voice is cracking. But I mean he's not bad. I give him a gentleman's B. Matt?
Ooh, a gentleman's B.
Yeah, not to be confused with the gentleman's C. Totally different.
Right.
I mean, I'm enjoying his vocal stylings for sure. I could agree on a gentleman's B.
There you go.
I think it's interesting because it's the last. This is probably truly one of the last albums that I listened to before I started being like, I want to hear dudes make growling, gurgly sounds. You know what I mean? So like, it was this. This was kind of the last bastion of like, I felt like this is as hard rock really gets before it becomes metal. You know what I mean? And so. A little bit of hardcore in there, but yeah, we used to blast this one just because it was so fast. It was so screamy, and it was as close as you could get. Because I remember reading comments when this first came out, like on AOL boards. I wish I could pull some of those old ones up, the old AOL band discussion boards. But they would always talk about like old school Blindside fans would be like, "Yeah, that song "Time Will Change Your Heart." That's as close to the old Blindside as we're gonna get, on this record. And it's true. It does have a nice clean chorus to it, but it really punches in all the right ways. If you're only here for heaviness, you're only here for screaming and intensity, because it has been kind of slow for the last few tracks.
Songmeanings.com had one comment from Nirvana Freak 94, who said, "This song is so awesome. The guitars are so heavy, and he screams, and oh man, it's so beautiful. Such raw emotion. Anyway, I really love the part where he goes, we laugh about it and we dwell over it, but time flies by and I'm getting anxious. Forgive me for pushing you. I know you have your own legs to walk with. I guess it's because, to me, it's so precious." Ugh, so simply beautiful part. This song, I think, is about a relationship and past relationship. And when he says time will change your heart, he's really saying that, like, time will bring us back together. This is definitely one of my favorite songs on the record. Good job, boys.
Good job, boys.
Good job,
All right.
boys.
That is certainly one of the interpretations of all time.
Listen,
Yeah.
listen.
That is something.
Listen, when someone's like, I've got to put the ughs and the likes into my comment, I felt like this person knows ethereal voice better than most. I'm just saying it. Nirvana Freak 94. I look forward to more of your writing. What do we got next, Matt?
Well, I'll tell you what we have next. Painting.
Like that riff.
That's a good riff. When I saw the song title, I said, finally, we are talking about something a little different on this album. So I'm expecting references to Bob Ross. I'm expecting references to all the Ninja Turtles. Van Gogh. I'm expecting to hear about pastels. I'm expecting to hear about mixing colors. No. Not entirely. Because he says, this is, the world you painted was new. The colors were so alive. Took a lie and made it true. A final touch, and then right into the painting you dive. You've created this lie, and now you live in it. Whoa. That is not what Bob Ross would say. Because he'd say there's be no mistakes.
No mistakes.
No mistakes. No mistakes.
Namaste.
No.
I mean, Bob Ross did like to beat the devil out of his paintbrushes.
That's true. That's
so, I mean,
true.
in a certain way, Bob Ross is more Christian metal than
is
Blindside.
Bob Ross Christian?
You know what? I don't know.
Let's go to the board.
Let's go to the board.
Oh,
I think he said "God bless you" at the end of every single painting, right? Didn't he?
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure.
Create a new Mandela effect.
Right. Let's not. I mean, listen, those are readily available, beautiful. The proto ASMR is watching Bob Ross paintings.
Oh yeah,
videos.
for sure.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
This, you know what? Let me go to my notes. I wrote a moody open, a very new decision, and you, and more conversion talk. Sinner, please return to the fold. Dan?
Yeah. This I actually get this one mixed up with the one about sun tanning, because you can hide it. For they're like, this guy doesn't even know what this record is. He doesn't remember what the song is called. But the
is this guy even Christian?
I wonder. Let's go to the board.
Let's go to the board.
Okay, first of all, do not even get me started on that. You do a podcast for 5 years where you talk about some Christian bands, some not, and it's like, hey, bro, love the podcast. Are you a believer or what? Question mark.
Where are you?
Yeah.
Hey, Dan, I just want to tell you a little bit about our show. We've got 300 plus episodes. We talk about nu metal every week exclusively. There is debate on whether or not we like nu metal. Just putting that out there. So
are you guys?
Oh, well, here's the
Wait,
thing. These guys don't
Is this
even
a
like
nu metal
nu-metal.
podcast?
yeah. I mean, ostensibly.
Yeah, okay, so painting is thematically very similar to You Can Hide It, except, like, I do feel like there's a little bit of rehashing of the same sort of ideas. Like, you're being very creative with it, painting, We'll See Colors Again. But, like, this song, you sort of combines the whole, like, you need to change right now. But don't worry, you messed up. It's okay. We all mess up. You'll see colors again. Don't worry about it. But then he also says, like, it's your life that's at stake, which makes me feel like maybe I won't see colors again if my life's at stake. Like, can I make such a fatal mistake that I will not only die on Earth, but also spend eternity in hell? I do feel like I feel like a lot of these songs that come off strong come from a good place, or what would seem like a good place, coming from that culture, coming from that mindset. But the way it reads now is very like, well, which one is it, dude? Am I allowed to make mistakes and time's going to change my heart and all of this? Or do I need to stop what I'm doing right now and change?
Hot debate.
I don't know the
Debate.
answer, but yeah.
Hot debate.
That's a good question.
That's a good question. I did not write down any comments on song meanings for this one because, you know what? Honestly, there were not a lot of great ones for this one. One person just said, amazing. Need I say more? Yeah, motherfucker. It's songmeanings.com.
We need to know if this is a Christian band or not.
I need to know if it's a Christian band or not. All right.
If you don't fucking tell me if this is a Christian band or not, I'm going to lose my mind.
Lose it. What do we got next?
Oh, I'll tell you. My job is to tell you that the next song is Midnight.
Whatever you let you left side out, but I try to take away. And now
I wrote in my notes that this is a mid-tempo moody boy. It's very track 10 of them to do this.
Very track 10.
It's a very track 10 mood. And but this is a song, first and foremost, do we know if this is a Christian band? I don't know.
I mean,
we're gonna need to figure that out. But there is
a reference taking a leak. Obviously.
Yes, he does.
That's, I gotta tell you, that was one where I thought first that song meanings had a typo and I was mishearing it. Then I pulled the lyric book out because I've got it here because I got it from MAGA headquarters, Rock of Ages, and it's in the lyric book too. And I was like, what? Are we talking about peeing?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. Dan, go to you. Talk
yeah,
us
man.
through.
So obviously me and my friends, we don't love potty humor, but it was just so, like, even back then, this is not something that, I think you guys are expecting me to be all like, all right, bro, so here's the thing. All Christian bands make a reference to pee on the, like, no, but it's like, this is so funny because, like, what I love about Blindside, more specifically on their other records than I do this one, is that his lyrics are always like really open and sort of like try to be funny, but in a very endearing way. And this is the first time that he like tries to do that on Silence. I feel like this record was definitely created in a lab, to a certain degree, to try to make a hit, to try to make sure all the pieces are in play. And the first time they're like, all right, yeah, we don't really have anything for Midnight, Christian. So, you just go in there, you do your thing, let's hear it. And he's just like, yeah, whatever I do, don't let your inside out, but I've got to take a leak, And so it's like, I could see they probably all sat down, looked at that lyric, and were like, they high-fived each other. This is funny. People are going to think it's funny. Without thinking about, like, does this really work for the song that we're doing here? Because the rest of it is so damn serious about sinning and not feeling good. I talked about self-deprecation. This is them 100%, like, to a T, is like, I'm a horrible sinner. I feel all of these big feelings, and every single time I try to do something on my own, I fail. But that's the song that I put the P joke in.
Well, I can tell you that the commenters on songmeanings.com definitely thought it was a joke and definitely didn't take it super seriously. I am joking. Emotion Alice said, but I've got to take a leak. What is that supposed to mean? And then
Really?
Punk Rock Chick 217 said, here's the story with these lyrics. the world doesn't like Christians as a whole. And so Christians are encouraged to not, quote, let your inside out, not to tell people about Christ. But the singer says that he's got to take a leak or let out the word of God. It took me a bit, but that's what I think that means. Rock on.
Oh, baby.
That is an incredible stretch. And the fact that they said it took me a minute. And then I look at the posting on this. This question on God to Take a Leak was posted September 12th, 2002. Punk Rock Chick did not respond until March 6th, 2003. Yeah, they took some time. They took some time to get
these
there.
Things. Yeah.
You know what? I mean, if someone's up there on the pulpit espousing for the views of the Christian nation, I'm like, is this guy taking a pee?
Yep.
All right, Matt, what do we got next?
We've got Coming Back to Life.
So I have to admit, at this point in my listens, we definitely have a lot of energy still coming from this band, but I feel that we've run out of tricks, and I definitely feel like I've heard all these boys have to give and started feeling a little bit redundant, both musically and lyrically. I mean, once again, we're talking about glimpses in the corner of the eye. That was track 1. We're doing it again. We're still getting glimpses, still seeing things. I feel like Howard Benson should have been like, we've already got a glimpse song. Why don't you do a song about taking your dog for a walk? That's what I want. But that's not what we got here. We're doing more glimpsing. Dan, what'd you think about this one?
Yeah, I mean, I always enjoyed this one because, again, it is a little bit more of an uptick. Because what this band does a lot, and it's kind of frustrating, is they'll go for like 3 or 4 songs where you're just waiting for something to happen. And in my case, because I'm a bit of a meathead, I like it to be hard and heavy all the time, for the most part.
Yeah.
And this record doesn't give me that consistently enough to keep me engaged. So a lot of the time, the reason I'm always happy to hear this song is I'll be doing something else. Like last night I was grocery shopping while listening to this. And I remember, I had sort of just phased out. All I really noticed was that I was grocery shopping until this song came on, and I was like, "Oh, I'm still listening to this Blindside record." Okay, all right, we're still going. So I always like that. I like it. It's a little bit like POD-ish in its delivery. It's a little bit more like what do we used to call it, like rapcore-ish. Where he's kind of trying to spit the lyrics, but like not really rapping, not really singing, not really screaming. But yeah, by this point in the record, though, I would have been totally fine if like they had just sort of closed it off by now and closed up shop and went home. Because we're at a point where we've just gone on for so long that you're like, oh, we're repeating themes, just like Lorin said, repeating themes, having 13 tracks just to have them. The record didn't have to be 47 minutes long.
Oh, you blew it because I was going to say,
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's
sorry.
okay. I asked
It's
the
okay.
question, how respectful of our time is this album? And yeah, it's only 47 minutes long, which means at this point you could have listened to it twice.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I kind of coming back to life. Yeah, I'm at that point where this should have been 10 tracks. But here we are.
I saw a thing recently. The band We Are Scientists said that every album should be 10 tracks and that they have been trying to adhere that their whole career. And then someone was like, well, wait, on this one record, you had 11. And they were like, yeah, that was our mistake. We should have cut this song. Like, we should have cut this specific song. That album should have been 10 tracks. That's on us. And, sometimes I sit there and I'm thinking like, man, 10 tracks might be the way to go. Then you listen to like Depeche Mode Violator and it's only 9 tracks. And you're like, no notes, maybe,
notes,
and then you start just cutting, and then you're like, and then all of a sudden you're listening to nothing. You're like, okay, I've cut too much. Too much. You got to have a couple songs.
That's what's so good about the vinyl record, because it is like 5 and 5.
Yeah.
Done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I feel like we've kind of passed the streaming bloat era where people would drop like a 28 song album on us. I don't feel like people don't really do that anymore. I feel
not
like
as
now,
much. Well, it's not as powerful as it used to be. Now it's like, you're going to drop 23 songs and which one should I listen to? Like,
right. Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's 2023. I'm not going to listen to your album. I'm going to make a playlist of all the songs I like on your album mixed with a bunch of other songs that I like, maybe from other albums.
Wow. So there you go. Yeah, at 47, I felt like, this was respectful of our time, but definitely on my last listen when I was doing notes for the show, I was kind of like, how many songs do I got left?
Yeah.
Could we move this along just a little bit? So yeah, I don't have anything from song meanings on this one. I think they were just still kind of discussing whether or not Blindside is a Christian band. Which
I think that's a good conversation.
Jury's still out. So what do we got next?
Well, we got She Shut Your Eyes.
This has some tasty riffing, I thought, and I also wrote in my notes that these boys are going to convert you if it's the last thing they do. All right? You're not getting out of this Blindside album unconverted. Don't even think about it.
Don't even think about it.
So, I mean, this is presuming that, of course, they are converting me to Christianity, which I do not know if they are Christian or not.
That's a good question.
Still a debate. Dan, Blindside, Christian or not? Where do you land?
You know, I think that they doubled down in a really good way in that, number one, all their songs are about Jesus. Their lead singer's name literally is Christian. So, I mean, you've got it from any angle that you want. You know, because I could make an argument that even if their lyrics were about Satan, this is a Christian band because there's a guy named Christian in the band.
Correct.
And so he's a Christian. He is literally a Christian in a band. There's so many variations on that terminology. It works so well. Yeah, I mean they're a Christian band. Blindside, they're still a Christian band. You could listen to like their newest rock record, and they're still a Christian band. They didn't pull a Gideon on us and just go completely the opposite direction. Although that sometimes is more interesting. A lot of my favorite Christian bands are we no longer identify with that.
Let me tell you, this Gideon pivot, I'm here for it. I'm loving it. We just listened to a Gideon track. It was one of the Andrew Wolf recommendations a couple weeks ago. And now they've got this new Gideon record coming out. 2 singles are straight on Ripper City. Yeah. So yeah. And also they're swearing on it. Yeah, man.
Yeah, you can't do that if you're a Christian band unless you're Norma Jean. Then you can't. Then it's okay. That's become a new thing now. Christian bands swear now. We finally got there. It took a long time, took a lot of fighting, but it's definitely a thing now.
Well, I think that the Pope weighed in. He was like, Christian bands are allowed like one fuck, one shit. It's like the difference
PG-13,
between a PG-13 to an R. Exactly. Yeah, you get one fuck, you get one shit. Yeah, and you're gonna make it count. And I mean, did you guys see Megan? Did you guys see the movie Megan?
No, not yet.
Okay, that Megan's PG-13, and it's got one fuck in it, and they make it count. Like when it happened, I was like, well done on your usage of your one fuck. I'm impressed. Matt, how do you feel about this one?
I like this one a lot. This one feels the most POD adjacent out of all of the POD adjacent songs in this album. This one felt like I could hear this after Boom, and it would not be that ain't much of a stretch. But in a weird way, it still feels more modern rock than it feels new metal.
Yeah. There isn't enough down tuning. There isn't enough. The other thing is that how we brighten this up.
Slicked them up.
It's a bright record. Now, song meanings did have a little bit of a twist here because I think people got a little crazy in trying to analyze these songs. And I'll just run you through this quick little thread. WEC05 said, actually, the Morning Star is another name for Lucifer. So perhaps the song is about temptation or the inherited weak will of man. This set some people off.
Of course.
The comments went ballistic.
This
to
comment,
the boards.
To the boards. Well, yeah, wait till you hear some of these names. The Kizernol 2000 said, there are also many, many churches named Morning Star, all of different forms of Christianity. There's also a fellowship called Morning Star. Maybe it has nothing to do with Lucifer, but then again, maybe it is.
It's impossible to know.
But then, guys, I'm like, okay, then maybe it is thing. I'm like, okay, they're leaving this on the table. They know this is fertile ground. Steel Dagger shows up. Actually, Jesus is often referred to as Morning Star in the Bible. It says in the glossary for reference to Jesus page in my Bible.
This is such a beautiful song.
Cries. Amazing. And then the coup de grace. the denouement of this thread. Jonna says, indeed, it is quite a nice song, but still none of these comments has helped me to understand its meaning. Any other thoughts? Never ends. It never ends. What is the Morning Star? We may never know.
We may never know.
May never know. Believe it or not, boys, we're on the last song.
And believe it or not, this is the titular track.
So Matt, this is how the whole song goes.
Oh no, they were listening to the whole thing.
Oh, okay, cool.
This is it. Yeah.
What do you mean? Is this it?
This is it. This is it.
I don't know if these guys are Christian. That's my thing.
Mm,
I mean, listen to that. I don't know, man.
I don't know either. I have a question though.
Oh,
And
I love
this
questions.
is a larger question about the decision to do a song like this, and we've encountered this type of song on many albums,
Mhm.
both in the genre and honestly outside the genre, where it's like we're gonna do an acoustic number. Maybe it'll be a secret track, maybe it'll be the last track, but it's gonna be very spare. But for some reason, when we record it, even though you've just sat through 45 minutes of the slickest Pro Tooled, processed down to make sure this thing sounds great in both headphones and the shittiest computer speakers you've ever heard. But this acoustic song, we're going to put the mic in another room and it's going to sound like straight garbage. What is this decision? Walk me through it. Walk me through the choice. Listen, we've been recording this and it's been sounding great. We got to have a song on this album that sounds like fucking shit.
Just sounds like fucking trash.
Can
Please.
we just get some garbage trash recording on this album? Listen, we got the budget of budgets right now. Electra's ponying up. Howard Benson's showing up 8 a.m. every morning, bag lunch in hand, ready to go. But can we make a song that sounds like I recorded it under my house?
I just need a song that sounds like fucking shit.
Listen, we're recording in like a top tier studio.
Yeah.
We've got those sound absorbers on the wall.
Yep.
Listen, levels are great. Can we just record it
Do
in
you
like a
have-
bathroom?
Do you have like a Mr. Microphone
Mhm.
that you could set up in the bathroom for me?
Oh, that'd be great.
Listen,
Listen, I just want this song to sound like it was recorded by a mummy who just came back to life.
Ooh,
And
5 more
just
minutes
figured-
of this, by the way. 5 more minutes of this. We're already at 2 hours.
All right.
5 more minutes.
Anyway, I'm just
Like
like,
terrible. Cut it
That's-
from the album.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
what are we doing here, boys? Dan,
I have two theories.
okay.
Number one, they're recording in the box from the Pitiful video. That's a theory. I don't know. That's what I think. That's not what I know.
Theory one.
Okay.
Okay.
The other theory is that this is when Howard Benson found out about the pee joke, and it was already too late, and he kicked them out of the studio, and they recorded it in the. And he's like,
Classic.
he's
Yeah.
like, you know what? If you guys aren't going to take this seriously, you can record the rest of the album yourself. And this is what we got.
There you have it. I think that's guys, there's a lot of comments in the song meetings about whether or not this song is religious or not. And I don't want to bore you with a ton of them, but I feel like this exchange is kind of perfect and a perfect way to close this out. The first comment is from Blindsided. Some of those letters are capital and some of them are lowercase. They said, I think Christian definitely wrote this about God, but the great thing about all the songs is that people can get different meanings and reactions from it. This song is so powerful and beautiful, and it's one of my favorite songs on the album. Lil Crow commented and said, true to the above, 3 pointing emojis. I hate God and anyone who follows him, but that's why I can like and appreciate this song, because I get different meanings from it other than the true meaning on the lyrics. Lil Crow. Lil Crow.
You just said.
You okay?
You okay? I gotta tell you, the whiplash on that, the pointing emoji, like, this guy gets it. I hate God and anyone who wants anything to do with it, but I'm still into Blindside, baby.
Is that just the other guy on an alt account
It might be.
proving his own point?
Maybe the burner account, man. Yeah. And then there's a giant comment from the Benny boy where they make a bunch of jokes and then at the end say, and no one's gonna get my jokes, but I'm just joking. I was like, then you know
Are
your
you?
joke. You know your jokes ain't jokes. You know they ain't jokes, Matty boy.
Them jokes ain't jokes.
Them jokes ain't jokes. If you're sitting there going, I know no one's gonna get these. I love it. I love a stand-up comedian who goes up and goes, you might not laugh at a couple of these, but they're jokes. Believe you me.
Believe you me, we got jokes.
We got jokes. They ain't gonna hit, but they jokes. Guys, that was Silence by Blindside.
Oof.
We made it through it. And now it's the part of the show where we talk about
Canon talk.
Dan, you are a guest. We will start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I told you straight up when we first started talking about this. I was like, I'm not sure this is new. It's one of those things where I feel like I could make an argument to put pitiful in the canon if everything POD ever recorded didn't exist.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
like that's kind of where it's at with me. Even though like I felt like my job was to like sell this record to you guys, I don't necessarily think that Nu-Metal would have been better or worse without Blindside's input.
Okay. My notes were that this album is fine. It makes its point fairly early, certainly rocks, but never brings anything groundbreaking to the table. And at a certain point, I was like, I get it. At a respectful 47 minutes, it still feels a little long by probably at least 10 minutes. Preachy if you dig into the lyrics, but if you have it on, you won't even notice. Nothing for the canon. Matt?
I really enjoyed the listen. Definitely would have grabbed me if I would have heard it at time of release. Hearing it now, it definitely feels, it doesn't feel dated, but it still in a weird way feels of the time. Like there isn't a lot of, I don't hear a lot of this today, but there's so many things that are in this that are present today. I don't know. Like as a whole, it feels 2002. But it shouldn't go in the canon because it's Nu-Metal.
Yeah.
It's not, there's not enough Nu-Metal. There's definitely pieces here and there, but not as a whole. But I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Blindside, not in the canon, but that's okay. And you know what? One day we're going to figure out whether or not these boys are Christian.
I hope so.
I hope we figure that out. I do really hope it. And that does bring us to the end of another episode of Roach Koach. Keep on saying hello to us online, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Roach Koach and all those. Send us an email, roachkoachpodcast@gmail.com. Dan, where can everybody find you on the old interwebs?
Well, believe it or not, you can actually find me right here at Gabber Media. If
You sure can.
if you go to DFT'S Dungeon.com, you can find me there releasing episodes every week where I'm going to absolutely show you the best parts of songs and pair them with soul-cripplingly depressing stories and sometimes happy stories. So that's kind of what I do now. This was kind of nice getting to sort of sit down and put the review hat back on for a little while, but yeah, so that's what I do over there. So check it out if you want to, but definitely keep listening to Roach Koach because now every week or every new episode is kind of like a Christmas present because I never know who's going to be on it. And so it's always a surprise. And it's always fun.
Oh, well, thank you. Until next time, Matt, thank you.
Lorin, thank you. Dan, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Roach Koach.
Podcast.
Hot all day, every day. It's the Roach Koach
Podcast.
all day, every day.